Australian Manufacturing and in particular Holden are going to vote, the workers are going to vote on a new workplace agreement on Tuesday morning. It's tomorrow. And there are a few new clauses in that agreement, and some of them I've heard are quite intrusive. I can't tell them which way to vote. I hope they do vote in favour of the agreement, because at the moment it's become a critical point for Elizabeth, where they need to get some serious investment from General Motors, and it's come to that tipping point where they need to make the decision about staying or going post 2017. So from what I've heard, there's been an agreement, I guess drafted, well, I wouldn't say it was drafted by General Motors in the US because I don't know that specifically, but from the restrictions that I've heard about, it sounds like a head office list of demands: do all these restrictions, otherwise we'll close the plant. I don't know if that's the case. That's what I've heard from a few people. It's not an official position. Of course, no company would ever say that, I guess. But really I can see that General Motors in North America would need some assurances and some reduction of risk in relation to manufacturing in Australia, because it is a pretty tight proposition for them to make money still building cars here. That's only in the current set of circumstances. As you can see, in the last few months the Australian dollar has started to soften, which is good news for exports. Holden does start exporting the Commodore as the Chevrolet SS sedan this year. They are already exporting the Holden Caprice long wheelbase Commodore as a police car, I can't remember what it's called, police vehicle, PPV. And when they had their trials, they had the Holden Caprice, or the Chevy Caprice as they call it over there. Yes, there is a Holden that is actually a Chevrolet. When they were doing those, the testing, where a whole bunch of police jumped into the cars, drove them around tracks, flogged them, did, I guess, big handbrake turns, and I don't know, I assume drove a few into walls and blew them up with gigantic fireballs, if what I see on TV is to ring true. The US police tested a whole bunch of them, and the Caprice performed very well. It's also interesting to note that they tested it against the Ford Taurus police patrol vehicle, which is the 3.5 litre turbo all-wheel drive, which is, I guess, the predecessor to what may replace the Falcon come 2017. And it did beat the Caprice around a track by 0.1 of a second. So their Ford North America, their performance sedan, beat our limousine by 0.1 of a second. So yeah, as the Australian dollar continues to soften, which is likely considering a review of the Chinese government's growth policy, which is going to become less resource dependent, you'll see our position as a resources exporter will shrink. It won't become as strong. The Australian dollar will drop, and then our export propositions will become stronger. And it's at that point where we need to actually still have a manufacturing industry that's available to take advantage of that change of circumstance. Now, if you have a look at the current circumstance and the last 6 months, it's a bad record, because the Australian dollar has been so high and the rest of the country's economies have been so crappy. As those circumstances start to peter out and go back to the levels they were at previously, we will see Australian exporting pick up again. And that's a good thing for us, because, as I was saying, the Chinese growth policy is going to rely less on resources. We already have our manufacturing exports sitting at 33% of our export trade. So if we don't have that export trade anymore, and that resource demand drops off, what have we got left? Absolutely nothing.